All right, welcome. Today, we are completely demystifying English fluency. You know that deep-seated anxiety you feel right before you have to speak English? We're tackling that head-on. Because so many of us literally just freeze up, right? We stress over grammar, panic about vocabulary, and honestly, we just worry way too much about what everyone else is thinking. But what if I told you that mastering this language actually has nothing to do with memorizing a massive dictionary? It's all about a fundamental shift in your mindset.
The source material actually takes this really cool, supportive older sibling tone. It reminds us that picking up a new life skill, any skill really, should never feel like a stressful chore. It's supposed to be an enjoyable journey. If you treat learning English like some punishing, high-stakes school assignment, you're just going to burn out. So, taking this big brother approach means we're going to completely strip away all that pressure and, believe it or not, actually make this fun.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're covering 5 simple steps. Number 1, the fun foundation. Number 2, observe, don't memorize. 3, put ego aside. 4, clarity through meditation. And finally, number 5, realizing it's just a language. It's a climb from super easy daily habits all the way up to some really profound psychological shifts.
Let's start our climb at base camp with step 1, the fun foundation.
You know, traditional advice totally fails us here. People always say, oh, watch dense news broadcasts, join formal classes, listen to complex political debates. But let's be real, that is incredibly boring. You do not need to sit through dry news segments. Simple, conversational cartoons actually work so much better. They use straightforward language meant for kids, which makes it absolutely the easiest way to grasp conversational flow without getting completely overwhelmed.
The golden rule here is so simple. Just dedicate 15 to 60 minutes a day to something you actually enjoy. If you're a visual learner, watch some cartoons or YouTube videos. More into audio? Throw on a podcast or listen to the radio. And if you learn best by reading, the source makes this incredibly clever recommendation. Grab a 10th standard ICSE English textbook. Seriously, they are packed with really great, easy-to-digest short stories. The whole key here is consistency. Just 15 minutes a day of something you genuinely like.
Now I know some of you are probably sitting there thinking, come on, I'm way too old for cartoons. Fair enough. If that's you, watching sports and tuning in to brilliant Indian commentators is a fantastic alternative. Think about listening to legends like Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, or Farsha Bogle. They speak with such incredible clarity, using really dynamic phrasing. Plus, because you're already super invested in the match, your brain is highly engaged. It's practically an effortless way to just absorb the rhythm of the language.
Okay, let's move into actively studying the mechanics with step 2, observe, don't memorize. Here is a totally fascinating truth about this. True fluency? It's not about memorizing the dictionary. We all seem to have this mistaken belief that having a massive vocabulary equals being fluent. But really, fluency is simply the ability to observe how native speakers build everyday sentences and then just replicating that structure. It's all about sentence construction, not hoarding big, fancy words just to sound smart. So, how do we actually do this? Well, while you're enjoying that fun content from step 1, become an active observer. Whenever you spot a gap between how you would think to say something and how they just said it, pause. Observe it from the outside. Make a mental note of how their sentence structure is different from your internal translation. Then say it out loud 10 times. This simple repetition literally rewires your brain to naturally adopt the correct English flow instead of just forcefully copy-pasting Hindi grammar onto English words. Now we are moving away from external mechanics and stepping into the internal mindset. Step 3. Put ego aside.
This is a pretty heavy question, but we have to talk about it. Why do we feel the need to harshly judge people for speaking broken English? Addressing this fear of judgment is the ultimate key to unlocking your own confidence. In Indian society, there's this really strange phenomenon where people are so quick to mock someone for a grammatical error. And that exact fear is what paralyzes most new learners from ever even opening their mouths.
But the source keenly points out something amazing. People who judge your language skills are usually just trying to artificially boost their own fragile egos. When someone points out your mistake and laughs, they aren't actually mocking you. They are projecting their own deep-seated insecurities. They're probably highly self-conscious about their own English, and putting you down is just a defense mechanism to make themselves feel intellectually superior. Once you realize their mockery is a them problem and not a you problem, it gets so much easier to follow this rule. You've got to stop caring about what others think. Focus entirely on becoming the best version of yourself, mistakes and all. Seriously, drop the arrogance and put the ego aside. If you mess up and someone corrects you, embrace it. That correction just became a free lesson you'll remember for the rest of your life. Your English is going to naturally improve because of it.
All right, step 4 introduces a highly unconventional but deeply powerful tool, clarity through meditation.
You know, a lot of speakers stumble, not because they don't know the vocabulary, but because their minds are just completely cluttered by 3 huge roadblocks. First, there's that intense social anxiety, the lok kya kahenge, or what will people think? Second, you have the exhausting mental gymnastics of forming a thought in Hindi and furiously trying to translate it to English in real time. And third, you're just frantically scrambling to recall the right words. All of that mental chaos makes smooth speaking practically impossible. Now, I know it might sound a little crazy to bring up meditation in a language explainer, but hear me out. Achieving absolute clarity of thought through meditation completely wipes out those mental roadblocks. It grounds your thought process. It literally silences the anxiety of being judged and clears away that awful mental lag from translating in your head. When your mind is finally quiet and focused, the words you've learned are just going to flow naturally and seamlessly. And finally, we reach the summit of our journey with step 5. It's just a language.
This is where we absolutely must dismantle the societal baggage attached to English. We have this painful history of colonial rule that unjustly hardwired our society to equate a foreign language with raw intellect. For 200 years, British rule deeply ingrained this false idea that speaking English makes you educated and intelligent, and if you don't, you aren't. And even though that rule ended a long time ago, this massive mental hangover still heavily persists in our society today.
It's created this huge double standard. Look at the global norm. Right? In Germany, people are incredibly proud to speak German. In Japan, they proudly speak Japanese. Yet here in India, we have this massive cultural flaw where we judge each other's intellect based on how well we speak a language that isn't even natively ours. Recognizing this flaw is so liberating because it instantly strips away that false pedestal English has been placed upon.
Because at the end of the day, it's just a language. So you shouldn't panic if you lose a word mid-sentence. While older generations might gasp if you don't speak perfect, unbroken English, seamlessly blending in some Hindi is perfectly fine for our generation. It's widely accepted now. If you get stuck, don't freeze. Just finish your thought in Hindi or whatever your native tongue is and keep the conversation moving.
Let's do a super quick review of our climb up the mountain. We started by finding fun, simple content for just 15 minutes a day. Then we learned to observe sentence structure instead of obsessing over big words. We talked about dropping our ego and embracing mistakes. We uncovered how meditation brings mental clarity to banish that translation lag. And finally, we dismantled that colonial hangover to redefine what fluency really means. The ultimate takeaway from all of this is to hold immense, unshakable pride in your roots, whether that's Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Sanskrit, Hindi, or the legacy of your ancestors. English is honestly just a practical skill. It's a tool for modern communication. It should never, ever overshadow the beautiful, rich linguistic heritage that you come from. Be deeply proud of your own culture. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as you step out into the world to communicate fearlessly. Will you let a language dictate your worth, or will you use it simply as a tool to express your true, confident self? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.